Do you ever feel embarrassed when you're trying to talk to someone and they kind of pull away from you and you feel really awkward and you beat yourself up and you just kind of gnaw away at yourself because you just didn't really have anything interesting to say? You kind of even blame the other party for pulling away. Like, maybe there was nothing that you did wrong. This could be someone you're meeting who is new, and it could be someone you're getting to know, or it could be someone you're already familiar with, someone you may even know really well. How can you make it so that the next time you have an interaction, a romantic interaction, that it doesn't fall flat? I do have a solution for you. Introducing my triangle framework, the love triangle, that's what I call it. This is one of the frameworks that I personally live by, and this is what helps me decide whether or not I'm going to talk to someone. It helps me decide some contributing factors behind why someone is going to want to talk to me at all as well. It's all about the why, and that's kind of what my love triangle framework goes into. It's a very personal framework that I came up with. It's just kind of based on observation, and I pepper in a bunch of other kind of principles in with it to reinforce my love triangle principle. So rather than trying to brute force something into reality, you can instead have the thing that you want come into fruition naturally. You can have the thing that you want be brought about as a side effect rather than you constantly trying to work so hard at it and never see results. Is this a short-term fix, a band-aid even? Not really. It's kind of like a filter system. It's kind of like that. It's a filter. If I'm talking to someone, I make the decision based on this principle, this framework. If someone is struggling to communicate with me, this is one of the frameworks that I look at to see if something went wrong. Because if you want to flirt, and if you want to talk with a member of the opposite sex, if you want to attract them, being direct will only be useful to you sometimes, not all the time. Let me tell you a very personal story that happened to me a long time ago. I was in another country once, and I was looking for a library. And I met this really nice girl there. And I asked her to help me find this library, because where I was looking for it, I couldn't find it. And so I asked her to help me out. And we still couldn't find it. So I asked her for some tips on how to find a library that she would recommend. But because I really liked her, I asked for her phone number. I gave her a compliment as well before asking for the phone number. But the idea is I didn't just walk straight up to this person simply because I liked them or I thought they were attractive. There was something else going on behind the scenes before I just whip out my request for a phone number. With this particular girl, at first things were going off really well, but then very shortly I was in my own head a little too much. I was pushing too much for a friendship with her, and then she kind of blocked me. And that is actually because I failed to adhere to my own framework at the time. So the very framework that works for me got me her number, we hit it off really well, and we started talking for some time. But then, after a little bit of a while, I started getting a little too clingy in the friendship zone, wanting to have that direct connection more than what I wanted. More than she wanted or was ready for. I kept pushing it, and I violated my own triangle principle. I was trying to impose a direct connection instead of the triangle. So yeah, if this sounds interesting to you, I highly recommend you check the link in the bio. I know that sounds a little cringe, but it took me a long time to clean that up. Like, my websites and links and Linktree was a complete mess, and just a disaster to look at. It's all clean and tidy now, and I'm quite proud of my own framework. I even watched the whole 30-minute course last night to double check to see is this still relevant? Is this something that I still use? And yes, I still personally use this. This is not something that I personally learnt from other coaches or other people. This is something that I personally came up with, and this is the thing that I personally use to navigate attraction. And it doesn't just have to be for romantic settings. It can also be for family settings, and it can also be for friendship settings. And I give you maybe one or two more examples in the course of this playing out in real life, such as being on the job site or your workplace. That example will hopefully set your mind straight as to how this principle actually functions, how this framework really does operate. And the best thing about this framework is that I think it's easy to understand, And it doesn't take a lot to work with. Like, you don't physically have to do much. You don't have to do a lot of mental gymnastics technically, but the mental gymnastics can help in the sense that you will have to make sure that a valid reason actually exists before you go communicating with someone. You can't just be direct, try and brute force something into existence. You have to do kind of a little bit of thinking as to where you stand, where the other party stands. This also helps me with rejection a little bit. Like, there's multiple ways to overcome rejection, but for me, looking at this framework does help with understanding where rejection can sometimes come from. So let's say this girl I was talking about one time, where I got her phone number, but then later I was getting a little clingy with the friendship. It's clear to see where the rejection happened. It wasn't necessarily because I was becoming clingy and so on, or a little thirsty for friendship. It was because I violated my own framework. I didn't have a valid reason that would benefit the self-interest of this girl I had just met. So yeah, if this is something that interests you, check it out. I'm really proud of myself for actually tidying up all this mess. It's all nice and clean now. Even in the video itself, the course, I put some timestamps here and there to sort of help you zoom out a little bit so you can see things a little easier. And hopefully in the future, I'll come up with a lot more frameworks and strategies and things like this to help us get us to where we want to go. And it just kind of fascinates me that my own technique thingy here actually is a framework in itself. And I didn't realize that until now. That's why I'm literally now calling it a framework.